In this video, we're going through how to mark up your document. And really, marking up your document consists of two things. One is understanding what to automate. It also helps you as you are thinking about the language in your document, or you have more attorneys or people that you're collaborating with. It's a great way to get that information into a document so that the collaboration can happen. When we look at marking up the document, really we're looking at three areas. Is one, which fields do we want to just merge? Which ones do we want to put in there? Two, what conditional logic we want to build to add? And the third one is lists. So when might I have a list of people? So you'll see in this one, I actually have a list of children. So understanding what that might look like and understanding how that would go into the document. So if I were to go through and do this, and certainly some of these areas, if I look at client address, phone number, I may not mark those up because those are pretty obvious that they're going to be replaced with fields. But an easy way to do it is I may just go through and quickly highlight some of these just to give me context to remind me, which one I might want to do. Marriage date, marriage county. You can see I kind of named some of these things. I've seen people that put at signs before, or if you have a template already, you may already have some of those things. So really it kind of points those out. So my first step is to go through and do that. And as I read through the document, like, oh, hey, in the first judicial court, but this is for Utah, you may have something different, but maybe it could be the second judicial court or the sixth judicial court. So these are things that you can start thinking about as you are looking through the document to understand what it is that you would want to put in there. And then we got case, commissioner, judge, those things. Now, when it starts to get a little bit different is that I have a plaintiff or a defendant in this case. But really, I'm representing a client, and the client could be either the plaintiff or a defendant. So we would want to have some logic in there that says it. In some document automation systems that aren't NACLI, you would probably just have to type in the client name and then type in that same name and as a plaintiff or same name as defendant. So there's depending on the system that you're using, you can go through, you'll be able to account for that. So I'm just going to put this and that. Now, I may want to, as opposed to just highlighting it, I'm just going to turn that off. Maybe I need to do a little note here that says, for the sake of just make sure I understand it, say, can be client or opposing party. And I probably would want to do the same note here for the defendant. So that I just know that when I'm going through and automating this, that I've got to be keeping this in mind. Now, as I go down through the document, I can go through and make notes. Usually, we recommend making notes when it's some conditional logic that would need to come in, so that you can give a little bit more context about what you want there, and lists. So a lot of times do the highlighting for just what I'd call simple mail merge areas, and then used words text notes to allow you to do that. Nice thing is when you're done with these, you can just go up to review and you can basically get rid of all comments and just delete them all. So it's nice that you can get rid of all of them at once. Okay, so now I'm just going to come down here, and I've got some conditional logic in this document. One is if they have children, then I want this section to come in. So I'm just going to put a comment here. So now it just gives me a note here. But now I've got a list. So I've got 3. So I need to know how many children they have. So I might just go through and highlight this and say need number of children and list the children. So this just gives me a note to say, hey, this is what needs to go in here. I need to take care of it. And naturally, we would actually go through and we'd create a list of children here, and then we would basically look at that list length, how many children are in there, and we can put a length in, and we can go through and put the 3 in there for you automatically based on the list. Other systems, if you're doing it, you might have to type in the number of children, and then you might have to do, depending on which system you use, you might have to have like children 1 through 5, and then you'll have to list them and do conditional logic. But in Nacli, it becomes pretty easy that you can just do a list here. Now, we've got the initial one, but now we've got these minors. So how many of these children are minors? So I would want to actually mark this up. And we call it a filter. So filter on minors. So that means something to me, but you might just say just list minors here or something like that, just to let you know that this is what you're going to be doing. And so now I'm starting to get some notes to tell me what it is I need here and how language might change. And I just keep going down through the document and adding them. And this one's a short one, but you can put the client name. I could highlight that and who the opposing party and address are. But the advantage to doing this, really, like I talked about at first, is twofold. One is knowing what you automate. 2 is really refining the document and understanding what you want it to look like. Because my guess is if you go through and start doing this through some of your documents, you're going to say, oh man, I really should reword this a little bit differently, or I really need these other options. You get here down to 8, and oh, in this certain particular case, I need to have this other paragraph to come in, and then you can go through and make a note to put it in. So it really does help you as you want to create better documents for your clients to go through and do a markup. Thanks for watching, and look forward to helping you in your automation journey.